Right out of the box, John. The most significant impact, the greatest concern you have about state activities as it relates to this business community is?
Taxes. I think that's really the problem here in the state. Businesses pay 30% of the taxes, and New Jersey is the highest in terms of business taxes, the highest state in the nation.
Oh, highest state taxes, highest business taxes of any state in the nation in New Jersey?
Right.
Why is that?
Well, primarily because the legislators have acted a lot of these onerous taxes, small taxes. I'll give you an example. More recently, I guess limousine drivers, small businesses, right? They were imposed an additional tax, 7%, that limousine drivers in New York don't have to pay. Now, New York drivers are coming to New Jersey to pick up Jersey folks, and they don't have to pay the same tax.
How does that impact business?
Well, naturally, the price of the ride is going up, and now people are looking to elsewhere, in other states even. If you can call up to New York and get a ride to Kennedy Airport cheaper, you're going to do that. This is one small example.
So just tax policy is big.
Big.
Okay,
that's one small example.
And I got you, but not for those limousine drivers. It's not small.
Right.
Tax policy is one area. Let's talk transportation. Kevin, you've said that that it's very important to put the right amount of state money into the infrastructure, into our transportation system. Now, with all the campuses that Berkeley has, you've got one right around the corner where we're taping in Newark. Public transportation is critical. What's the problem there?
Well, I think the problem is it's difficult to get from, let's say, northwest New Jersey to northeast New Jersey. There's certain roads that are fine, but once you have an accident and that gets clogged up, then where do you go?
That's a state issue?
Depending on whether it's a state road or what type of road it is. I just think for New Jersey residents, you want to be able to get to your home and get to your business as quickly as possible. And when your employees are late, or in our business, if our faculty aren't there and the students are there, well, that's an issue.
So for you, when you're making, this is interesting, when you're making strategic or operational financial decisions as well, as to where to locate and where not, one of the issues you consider beyond tax policy for business is, does the public transportation system support our needs? And if it doesn't, you've got to think twice about that, right?
Right. Now, that's huge. That's one of the main reasons we came to Newark, because of the fantastic infrastructure in Newark with transportation between the airport, the railroad, the light rail that just came in, and the bus system, that we were able to pick a location where you could walk to the bus, walk to the light rail, and walk to the train, all within 2 blocks of the campus here. And I think getting students in and out, getting faculty and staff in and out, that's the way to go.
Critical stuff. Again, this is all not simply the governor, Governor Corzine. By the way, it depends upon whether you're watching this program before or after November 15th. We have the governor on for a live 1-hour call-in with our sister station in New York, WNET Channel 13, and we'll be simulcasting it across the state, live call-in for an hour. Make sure you log on to our website and ask questions beforehand. We'll get them to the governor. Dave, you have experience, Deb, I'll come to you in a second. You have experience both in the private sector with Gingoli and Sons, plus you're the mayor, and you have some experience in state government.
Yes.
What do you say to people who say, this is a tough place to do business in New Jersey because of state policy, you say?
I would say that we have to work on getting the public sector to respond to the private sector in a very uniform way.
For example?
For instance, if you watch a baseball game, you have an umpire calls a certain way. As long as that ump is consistent, then people know how to respond. Right. So I would say consistency and responsiveness from the public sector is the most important thing. If we get an answer back quickly, then we can go to Plan B. But if we don't, if the answer is short, is long in coming, then obviously that affects.
Give us a for instance. You're trying to do a project, and you want to build, you want to develop, you want to do something that's good as long as it's environmentally, it's the right thing to do.
Sure.
Which has to do with ratables, and it's good for the economy. You deal with this at the Department of Environmental Protection?
We deal with Department of Environmental Protection.
What might happen that causes a problem?
Well, you have a time period for anything you submit, and then that time period, at the end of the time period, you get comments back that you have X, Y, and Z still to do, as opposed to right from the start, someone being able to get back to you quickly and saying that you need to do X, Y, and Z to make this complete and to move the project forward.
How long could it actually drag on?
It depends on the project. It could be a long time. The other thing is in local government, building inspectors, for instance, if we're in the construction business, if they're not out on a site on a regular basis, and if they're not able to keep up with your project, well, that's money we lose. You know, if you're building a project and you're going along, and if they can't inspect that as quickly as you're building, then they're holding up the project.
Could that affect decisions that the business makes as to whether they want to do business in the state or not?
I'm sure it could. I'm sure it could.
Move to the healthcare field.
It's a challenging one, and I would say regulation is one of the most challenging that we
Such
face. The hospitals are under certain regulations, and yet many of the physicians and others are doing entrepreneurial ventures such as ambulatory surgery centers or plastic centers or those types of individual physician-owned centers, and they are not held to the same standards or regulation that the hospital is. And so what happens is that the hospital has a whole host of standards to adhere to, is responsible for taking everyone who is uninsured, whether they have ability to pay,